Welcome to Broncos Unchained. I am Boss Man Jay, and the headline for the San Francisco newspapers today is going to read something like this. San Francisco 49ers lose their Super Bowl to the Broncos in preseason game 1. What I saw was the first team come out, and the preseason is obviously to get the rust out and start running plays and getting used to the rhythm of a full-speed game again. But if you paid attention closely, Robert Saleh was running all sorts of different defensive packages like it was the Super Bowl. Now, they can say all they want to. It wasn't their first string, but it wasn't our first string either, other than the first couple of drives. And everybody's getting worried about Cortland Sutton and, the tight ends weren't involved and don't panic and, what Sean Payton says, as far as the ceiling for this team. But what everybody seems to be forgetting is that this game and preseason games are designed solely to get the rust out. And then as you get further into the game, we were down 9-0, but as you get further into the game, the score kind of got out of control. After those 9 points, the 49ers didn't score again. And they say, oh, well, it was the third string quarterback, fourth string quarterback, but it was our third string defense and fourth string defense. But if you're a Broncos fan, you know that our third-string defense still has top-tier edge rushers and top-tier defensive linemen, and then a lot of cornerbacks or defensive backs that would start on other teams. So it's really, we don't have a first, second, and third string. What we need to figure out is how we're going to get this team down to 53 players, counting, Jeremy Crawshaw being the 54th as an international player. That's our problem. Our problem is not whether our team is going to play. Our problem is not whether Cortland Sutton is going to be able to come down with those 50-50 balls. It's not whether Bo Nix is going to be able to figure schemes out a little bit better. It's not going to be whether the tight end is going to be more involved. It's not going to be why J.K. Dobbins didn't play more. I'll tell you why J.K. Dobbins didn't play more. It's because he doesn't have to. And I heard actually a lot of people say that when they used to have 2 days of joint practices, whoever dominated the first day, there was usually a fight the second day because the other team was hungry and they were mad. So look at it like that. Thursday, we kicked the crap out of the 49ers in practice. First team did, defense did, offense and defense both did. I mean, at the end of it, the Broncos or the 49ers started to show some fire, but I mean, by that time, the cameras had already shut off for the most part. So they came out running all sorts of fancy defensive schemes, and, they put their all into it like they were in the Super Bowl. For us, it was a preseason game. For the 49ers, it was a Super Bowl. I don't care if Brock Purdy didn't start. I don't care if Christian McCaffrey didn't start or Fred Warner didn't dress. It doesn't matter because our starting lineup played only a couple of series. The only difference is our backups would start before a lot of their starters if they were on the 49ers. So we're going to have more trouble figuring out how to get this 90-man roster down to 53 men than we're going to worry about getting the rust out by the time the regular season starts. So I've heard a lot of, Broncos struggle, but don't panic. Don't panic at all. Honestly, I mean, this game started out, 9-0, and look, it's already 20-9, and we're not done yet. And that's Blake Watson cutting it up there. Honestly, the only people that should be worried are Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe, Jaquan McMillan, maybe, and definitely Audric Estime. Now, Tyler Bidet is getting a lot of buzz, and I've been talking about him with certain people like, Moose from Broncos Breakdown and some other people since last season about Tyler Bidet being my dark horse. Because people seem to forget, he only ran the ball 11 times last year because he got hurt. But on those 11 carries, he averaged almost 8 yards per carry. That is not something to shake a stick at. So for everybody to be worried about what happened yesterday, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The whole point of preseason is to get the cobwebs off, not to shake the rust off. That's the whole point. It's not to do what Robert Saleh did and try to, come out there firing on all cylinders and really stick it to the game. Because, I remember, I think last year we were undefeated in preseason. or the year before when we won 5 games or 8 games, whatever it was, preseason schedules, preseason standings mean absolutely nothing. If you notice when the preseason starts, the place you're in is based on alphabetical order. So the Denver Broncos were already in first place in the AFC West because you got Kansas City, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas, and then D obviously becomes first in the alphabet. So all day I've been hearing about the podcast last night, about people saying, this person struggled. Bo Nix didn't look hot. Bo Nix was just trying to shake the rust off while Robert Saleh was running, blitz schemes that he would run in the Super Bowl against a quarterback that's just trying to get in the rhythm of a regular season, get in the groove of things. So by the time Jarrett Stidham came in, it was the 49ers' third string or whatever it was, and we put a little whack-a-mole right here trying to pick up a fumble, but it didn't matter anymore. Robert Saleh had pulled all of the tricks he could possibly pull. It got him 9 points. They scored on the first drive, because Jaquan McMillian basically, he fell down, and then Patrick, or what was his name? Yeah. I forget the running backs. I don't even remember the running back's name for the 49ers. But, he did, score a touchdown. But then we have a tight end with no players within 30 yards of him. But halfway through the first quarter, you see Robert Saleh giving high fives that they did something.
Of the stadium. Legends awaken!